He's got a new special out. It's called Paper Tiger. You can watch it on Netflix. It is Bill Burr.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for coming by.
Good to
Thank
have
you for having me. I still can't friggin' hear myself.
You can't hear yourself?
I can't. I'm old, though.
You look
Hello,
very
hello,
good.
hello.
You look like you've lost
Keep
a lot of
going.
weight.
For your
How's it going?
age.
For your age.
For your age.
Can you hear yourself
that's
now?
all qualified at this age.
Can you hear yourself?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
You look very good. You look.
Oh, thank you.
What have you been doing?
Pay you later.
What's your tip?
I quit boozing like a year
Cold
ago.
turkey?
Yeah.
I saw you a
White
year
knuckling.
ago, drunk at the Michigan game.
Hammered. Making
So
Instagram
is after
videos.
that?
Making Instagram videos. Oh, I'm sorry. November 24th. Not like I'm like a AA sober guy.
Yeah.
I was just, I was getting, I was having a couple of 2, 3, and it just started bothering me once I had a kid. I'm like, I have a baby upstairs, toddler, who's sleeping right now, and I am legally hammered.
Yeah.
Not drunk. Hammered.
Was that an after Thanksgiving decision you made or before Thanksgiving?
November 24th.
You know what's funny? The last day I drank, I was watching Michigan, Ohio State.
So
and
it's
I was
after
drinking this stuff,
Thanksgiving.
Kentucky Owl. Ooh, I recommend that. It was delicious. And I remember saying to my friend as I was drinking my last one, I was going, dude, I'm never fucking quitting. I was having that much fun. And then the next day I was just like, I need to go on a little bit of a, and you need to kind of put yourself in dry dock.
Yes.
For a second. So I was just like, and then I'm like, God damn it, it's the holidays. How do you do that during the holidays? It's so hard. And I just went on a little bit of a streak, and I went to this party, and we were all going to do a shot. We were going to have some bourbon. We were going to smoke cigars, and it just so happened that a commotion, it wasn't just a bunch of guys. It was women too and kids and stuff. So there was just too much of a commotion. It never happened. And then I got into double digits. And I was just like, all right, well, let me just see if I can go through Christmas. And then once I got through New Year's Day, I go to the Rose Bowl every year.
Oh, the best.
And get loaded, right?
Football heaven.
Yes. So I was just like, I'm not drinking this year. And then I just started telling people, I'm not drinking this year. I'm not drinking this year. And it's easy now, but it sucked for like the first 3-4 months. It just sucks.
But if you create that rule, I think it's, like, if you just say I'm not drinking this year, people respect it. Like, I made a rule to myself because, when we go out, like, there'll be a bunch of people, stoolies, who will say, oh, can I buy you a beer? Can I buy you a shot? I made a rule like 5 years ago, no shots. So people will come up and say, hey, can I buy you a shot? I'm like, no, I don't do shots.
Yeah.
And if you just say it as point blank like that, if you say like, oh, not right now, I'm like, come on, what's your problem? You're like, no, I don't do shots.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking this year. So you've gone the whole year.
Yeah. Shots are for amateurs, by the way.
Shots are just, they get you in trouble.
They're like pressing fast forward on your night.
Yeah.
They're getting you to your final destination a little bit quicker.
But don't you feel like you don't quite know how far ahead you leap, though?
Correct.
That's kind of what I like about it,
There's
though.
yeah. I should say it's for younger people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for the people.
Sipping and just, nice, initial ascent to your cruising altitude.
That's when you know.
That's a day drinker, knows how to drink. But then, you guys are like the stunt pilots. Just throwing them down, inverted, and all that. I don't want. I did that bed spins. I'm all set.
Yeah,
on
that's when you know that you're drinking. Like, your best drinking days are behind you. When the act of getting drunk is more fun than being drunk. Like the flight up, the day drinking.
There's a sophistication to it.
Right. Yes. You're like, it's nice. It's nice catching the buzz. Once I'm buzzed, I'm like, I want to go.
I
home.
am the thinking man's drunk.
Yes.
It's also a problem once you get past beer 4, I'd say. I just start thinking about the hangover that's going to come the next day.
Oh, do you?
And it totally ruins my drunk experience, which is why I do shots, because that way I don't have to think that much in advance about the hangover. I'm just already drunk, and I'm like, oh, shit, well, I'm fucked tomorrow.
I actually understand that.
But the impending doom of the hangover, once I turned 30 at least, that for me was like the tipping point where getting drunk is usually not even worth it. It's not fun enough to outweigh what I'm going to be feeling the next day.
I got to say, it's amazing that you figured that out by 30. It took me.
Took you to have a kid?
You to 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's not even 50. I had to have a kid. If I didn't have a kid right now,
I
would be hungover and about 30 pounds heavier.
I told you before we started, I went to the dentist for the first time in 4 years after I had a kid. I was like, I should probably figure out, some of these things and just try to be an adult.
Death comes from the mouth.
For a minute, it does.
What
that's
about,
actually, I think that's how like the Roman Empire went down. They just all mouth fucked each other until they died.
I think it was what they consumed.
Oh, it was the pipe. It was the lead.
It wasn't just the jizz.
Yeah. It was
the
also like
Cinnabons. I
feeding
think the
themselves-
Cinnabons took out Caesar.
Feeding
They
themselves
went
to
to
lions, that was a
supersize
problem too.
French fries. It was over.
My big problem whenever I've tried to take a little time off drinking is if I show up at a social function or a party and I don't have anything in my hand, it just feels like, I got to be carrying something. It's like maybe it's a crutch, just to have.
No, it's
to
weird.
Be walking around with that in your hand, it makes you feel more comfortable.
It's a new skill set you have to develop, and then it's actually fun. Watching people having a good time getting hammered is fun. It's like watching a reality show. Like, all right, he's gonna have to apologize for that, and like, wow, this person didn't seem that drunk, and they just told me the same story. This happened to me 2 nights ago. Same story, and person seemed pretty sober. And they told me what they did for a living and why they don't like it twice within a half hour.
That's their go-to story when they're hammered, is just bring everybody else down?
I don't know what it was. No, it sort of, I guess, meshed with what we were talking about. We had literally just talked about it. Like, if it was an old person, I'd be like, oh, no. This is like dementia or something.
Time to put Nana down.
Yeah.
Did you say that to him? Where you're like, hey, man, you told me the story last night.
No, I'm not going to ruin their good time. I just listened like it was the first time. I mean, I'd be so hypocritical if I did that. The third time, no, what I do is you start drifting. You just sort of drift.
Or you finish the story for him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, we're same wavelength. Just like, I know how this movie ends.
They think you're a mind reader.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't I am a big, as much as I talk and make fun of younger people and everything, I am a big proponent in letting young people have their good time. And just because it's over for you, to then come in, I'm going to tell you better watch out for that because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, shut up, old man. Let me figure that. Let me feel that sharp pain in my liver myself.
I agree with you there because I can't stand people who get into their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they just forget what being 22 was and how everyone was a shithead. I don't know anyone who was 22 and wasn't a shithead. Everyone's a half a brain.
Most parents, what they'll send their kid to school in, it's like, he's going to get the shit kicked out of him. Let's go muted colors. He doesn't want to stand out.
Right.
Actually,
it'd be funny. Next time an old guy starts telling you what's going to happen, if you keep drinking like that, you just yell out, spoiler alert.
Yeah, right.
I think it's better to
Let me enjoy this episode.
It's way better to be a shithead when you're 22 and you don't have any power, you don't have enough money to get yourself in serious trouble than it is to have all your shit together throughout your 20s. Then you turn 30, you're established, maybe you've got a couple of dollars in your pocket, and then you turn into a shithead. You're much more dangerous at that point in life.
Well, look, that's why I try not to make fun of pop stars and stuff. I still do, but like, you get all that money, you got a fucking Lamborghini when you're 21, riding around with your shirt off, eating McDonald's, and you still got abs. I mean, who can tell you anything?
Right. Yeah. If you've ever been around someone, I'm sure you have, that has been famous for the majority of their life, they're just not going to be normal. You know what I mean? Someone who was famous when they were 17 years old.
Oh, have I been around someone like that?
I'm sure you have.
If you're Hollywood Bill.
Like, okay, for example, A-Rod.
That's my NASCAR name.
Hollywood Bill.
Hollywood Bill, he ain't stopping for nothing.
Think about a guy like A-Rod who was famous. He drafted, 1-1, first overall. So he was essentially famous when he was 17, 18 years old. So for the last 22 years, he has been A-Rod. I think you have to give a little bit to those type of people being like, their world's not the same. Like,
what a second act that guy's had.
Yeah.
Becoming an analysis, it's just like, I love this guy.
Doing podcasts.
Oh, that's right. He's on your show. That's right. Sorry, my fault.
No, see, you don't have to apologize.
What a second act he has. He's finally working with you.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Big come up.
Let's how annoying has the press tour for Paper Tiger been? Because everyone's like, hey, Bill, what do you think about cancel culture?
There's been moments of that, and then mostly not. It's funny. I found more guys talking about it than the female reporters or whatever. And I guess I did a radio tour, and there was just one person by the third one. Some woman, I was doing a radio thing, and she was just like, so you did it at Royal Albert Hall in London. How much fun was that? It looked beautiful. I'm like, finally, somebody who get it. Yeah, it was just all about, having a good time and trying a new venue and taking a chance by going over there. And most of the special was about me being an idiot and trying to clean up my act so I don't, screw up this great thing that I have with my wife and kids. So,
but that's not what the media were.
I had nine questions about PC culture
people,
for you.
Most people, I mean, I'm sure you guys exist in the same sort of world that I do, that there's this, there's this one thing that's being asked, and then there's what's people are really feeling. So it's sort of this weird, like, I always compare it to the last election where they sort of misread where people were at. I understand why the cancel culture people are doing what they're doing. Their hearts are in the right place. It's just the way that they're going about it.
The execution,
Yeah, and it's just like, telling a stupid joke is a long, long ways away from taking your dick out at work. I mean, I think I could say that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know how you
Cancelled.
somehow get lumped into that, where it's just like, how could you,
Right.
in front of all those adults,
Right. I
who
also
watch online porn, and tell that shit joke?
I think the mediums in which people are disagreeing now actually has a very big effect on this, because it could just be a disagreement. Somebody being like, hey, I didn't like that joke. And that should be the end of it. But if it's a famous person or somebody with a check mark tweeting, hey, I didn't like that joke to a comedian, all of a sudden now it becomes a story. And there are blogs written about it.
I have to be honest.
And you can disagree with people about what's funny, what's appropriate, and what's not. But it didn't used to have that long tail on it.
It's not really even at this point even worth talking about anymore. I think it's sort of adjusting back, and I think
It is.
It was bad in the beginning that all people were doing what they were doing, and there was no way to tell people about it. Now there is. There was a little bit of an overcorrection, and now I think it's just going to come.
The pendulum has swung back for sure.
But on all, it can't go all the way back.
Right.
Just to like more of a. You don't listen to people for hundreds of years or something. The cork has to fly off the bottle first, and then it's got to swing all the way this way, and then it's got to gradually, come back to like, a place where now you're aware that this stuff goes on. You're going to listen to people, and then you'll take the proper channels to figure out if whatever went down, and then it did. These are the punishments, and then that's it.
Yep.
But
Okay.
other than that has nothing to do with being a stand-up comedian.
Okay, so how was Royal Albert Hall? And you are a venue guy. You've been to venues not only
Yeah.
as a stand-up comedian, but we talked last time you were on about all the different stadiums you've been to. Where does it rank?
Oh, Jesus.
It would have been great if you were like 57.
I have 57, and I'll tell you why.
You're my top
I would
56.
say that one was probably the top, just because it was past Carnegie. I can't believe I can have this conversation with you. It was past that, in that it was another country's Carnegie, and all those people showed up, and I was taping a special, and it just, the whole thing, the way it worked out, and the way Mike Binder shot the thing, it was really like everything just came together that night. So I would say that. But there's different reasons to like a venue. I would say the first Rough and Rowdy that I did with you
Yes.
is one of the top venues, because that's the house that Ric Flair
The
built.
house that Ric Flair
So there's
built.
different reasons to like stuff.
Where was that?
Charlotte? Is that Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yes, Charlotte,
Well, you know what I
North
was just
Carolina.
watching? I didn't have time to see where it was I was watching every 4 years I'll watch The Undertaker versus Mankind, the
Yes.
Hell in the Cell.
Yes.
And just as far as working a crowd at all costs, when Mankind gets up off the stretcher,
I thought he died.
yeah, and I totally bought in.
Yeah.
I totally bought in. That even every time I watch it, he sells it so hard, you buy in. You know he's still got her, but when he gets back up and slowly starts picking up speed and has that crazy smile,
He does that rumble. Yeah.
every time I watch it, die laughing, applauding.
Yes.
Going, this is working a crowd at such a masterful level. And even you watch how The Undertaker, when he really knows he hurts him, he'll take a couple of bumps to give him a break or miss a move. Just the artistry
Yes.
of what went on that night. And I just love people that make fun of wrestling, oh, it's fake. It's like, a movie's fake, but if it's done right, you go along for the ride.
Yes.
Right. And I don't think it's ever been done better than that. So whatever. And I was thinking, was that in Mellon Arena? Was that where the Penguins used to play?
I think so. Yeah,
Oh,
the Igloo.
cool.
Right?
That's cool.
That's
So,
what they
because
called
it was in Pittsburgh, and I'm thinking how big wrestling was. I don't know where it is right now, but how big it was then. That was when The Rock and Stone Cold and everybody.
Right,
so they
right.
were playing, all the arenas.
Also the place for, what was that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? Was it Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? The Face Off? No, not Face Off.
Not Face Off. That was Travolta.
The movie where
Double
they
Team.
where they were playing.
Dennis Rodman.
No, they had to stop a bomb at the Igloo, a hockey game.
Shit, I don't know.
All right,
I think
whatever.
you just wrote a movie.
It,
It sounds good. You in?
That sounds like
you know some powerful
That's a
people.
reboot.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can we get that made?
I don't know, but I love how you guys, how into the system you guys think I am. Hollywood Bill.
yeah,
Hollywood
you
Bill.
Hollywood Bill.
Hey,
Oh,
I'm,
you know
I'm gonna greenlight a couple of
Don't
projects.
do that.
for
Yeah,
You wore your
Netflix.
tracksuit that made you look like, oh, I just put this on. We know you got a tuxedo under that thing.
No, there's a reason I'm wearing this. I'm finally doing my two of my buddies got a podcast at Historical Hyenas, and they're like Bay Ridge, Brooklyn guys. So homage
nice.
to them. And then I was coming up here. I'm like, oh wait, you got that tracksuit January.
January.
Yeah, January. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, so
it looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's very comfortable.
It always,
Oh, it's
whenever
the
you wear a
greatest.
tracksuit, everyone's you kind of carry like a. I don't know, like a weight to you where everyone looks at you like, what's that guy's deal?
I was walking down the street.
Yeah,
this
like
morning.
a little
Is he bookmaking?
There was
Yeah.
sinister.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a scumbaggery.
You got
that
some-
You it ups your level of respect. Plus, also brings it down on an evil level.
But no one will fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like you could just walk around. You're just walking into a Starbucks and everyone's like, okay,
Yeah.
well,
Women
that
are like,
guy-
I'm not dating
Yeah.
that guy, and guys are like, I'm not fucking with that guy.
Yeah, right,
But you're getting what you want. You're
Yes.
getting a reaction.
I also think if you're rocking a tracksuit, yeah, somebody does think you're up to something. I was walking past a dude this morning. He was standing on the stoop of a barber shop, just smoking a cigarette and a tracksuit. And I was like, that guy's running numbers. I'm convinced of it.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
convinced.
You gotta have the wife beater on
Yeah.
underneath it.
He
though.
doesn't have a job, but he's got a really strong side hustle.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which is almost more intimidating.
Yeah.
I want to talk.
And he's winning because
Right.
he's
Yes.
out on a stoop in the middle of the day. Everybody's hustling to work. He's having a
He's
cigarette.
just chilling.
chilling.
Yeah.
Enjoying
Nowhere
himself.
to be. He's on his own time.
Something to aspire to. Can we agree?
Yes.
We can agree?
Yes. I want to talk real quick about doing your special in England. What
Okay.
What was your decision-making process? Why were you like, I want to go overseas to film this?
Because I plan on doing a bunch of these, and each one has to be a little bit different, or it just becomes, I don't know, too much of the same thing, I would think. So I've done some in the West Coast, the East Coast. I did a couple down south. It's like, where do I do this next one? It was a big risk because so much of it was about here. Obviously, I live here, and I was just like, but I always wanted to perform there, and I performed there last year, and I went up there, and I'm such a Zeppelin fan, and I and love John Bonham and stuff, and that's my favorite concert footage of theirs at Royal Albert Hall, and it still basically looks the exact same. And that when I did that first show last year, as much as I had a good set and I had a good time, the whole time I wasn't quite present because I was like, oh my God, this is it. I am on stage here. John Bonham's drums were right there. I'm standing where Robert Plant was. I couldn't get out of my head. I felt like I won like a radio contest. You know, go meet your favorite football player and you totally clam up and don't know what to say. And so it felt a little bit like that. So, but afterwards, you know, and my reps all came over because they wanted to, you know, check out the place. And then they were all kind of like, this fucking place is beautiful, obviously, you know, Americans, right? I never heard of this place, right? This place is beautiful. You should do a special. And I was like, do you think I could? And they were like, yeah. And it scared the shit out of me because I knew I had this great hour. And I was like, what if coming over here fucks the whole thing up? But I couldn't resist how good looking it was. So I had this healthy sense of excitement and fear going the whole way over. And I just did some tune-up gigs before I went over there because you just have to get into
How many does that
to
usually
their
take?
vibe. Well, I did the Liverpool gig first where I got this hat. I lose hats all the time. This one I've been hanging on to for a minute. So I did that one first. And that was a good show. And then the next one went okay. And then the next one was good. Then the next one was good. And then the next one was great. So it's always kind of the first one always goes well because I'm just, okay, I'm in England. All right. Fuck it. Boom. I do it. Or I'm wherever. But then the next one, you go on stage and you're like, okay, how did I do this last night? So now you're
Right.
not present. So it just puts you like that half a beat behind. And then it starts not going well. And then because you're in England, rather than just being like, all right, I need to fucking get this going, you start thinking like, oh, fuck. Was last night lucky? Do they not find me funny in England? And then you can start doing the death spiral. So there was a little bit of that for a few minutes, but I've just been doing it long enough to know how to get out of that. And
So you still do go into that every now and then.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. The night, you know, we taped back-to-back nights instead of doing 2 in one night. What you want to do is 2 in one night because you do your little BP on the first one, and then the second one you swing out of your cleats. And then usually how I do it is I take, you know, the better of the two, and then there's always something I got to like cut out because it goes too long. So what I use, it's almost like a parts car. If you watch those guys where they buy 2 and they just cannibalize all the parts, you just take like 2 little clips so you can take something out and just stick that. Because I don't want to have like jumping back and forth. Because even if people don't know you did that, it's gonna feel that. Because all crowds have a different vibe, and it's like you're gonna be like, you know, left speaker, right speaker, left speaker, right speaker. It's gonna fuck it up. So you have to. It's got to seem like have a flow to it, I think. So I don't know. That's basically how it went
You got to
down.
change any of your stuff up when you go overseas. Like, there's certain things that you can't talk about in London that they won't understand that might be part of your normal act in America.
If I was to just walk down the street and talk to somebody in London, yes. If you're going to my show at this point, because I've been over there enough times, they're into what I do.
Yeah.
So all I'm taking is a couple thousand people that listen to the podcast and get me. They come in there. But that is not a good indication of if I was just to stand out on the street and just pull a crowd in a park like a street performer, there would be a lot of people like, like they wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about.
Right.
Not
Fucking the
like
Boston Red
totally,
Sox.
but
Yeah.
but like, yeah. So there was a few things I had to change. Like instead of saying Stedman, I had to say Oprah Winfrey's husband, which ended up actually being funnier because I wasn't even doing the man the respect of saying his name.
Right.
That's disrespectful.
Right.
That's
So it
like
became-
calling her Zach Ertz's wife.
Right.
Yeah, it became
Julie Ertz.
more absurd. The whole thing became more absurd. And fortunately, most people who watched it really got it. And, and then there's just the normal, I didn't like it, so I didn't watch it. And then there's the, I loved it, so I watched it. And then the stuff we were talking about earlier.
Right.
I didn't like it, therefore you should change the whole thing so I can enjoy it
Change
next
everything
time.
about
Yes.
you. Where was the college football trip this year?
It's this weekend. It's Clemson, which I was so excited about, but Florida State stinks.
Yeah.
Clemson's a little weird.
That's
too.
one of
Have you
those
been?
Oh, it's Clemson. Oh,
Have you been?
oh,
you're
spoiler
going to
alert.
Tallahassee?
What are you going to do now?
No, I liked it.
There's a rock.
Didn't I came here, I was in a good mood,
You know what? I liked it.
You'll have a
Listen,
good time.
It was good.
I took time off
Wait, you're going to Clemson,
from
right?
my
Not
tremendously
Tallahassee.
busy Hollywood schedule of greenlighting things
I liked it. I shouldn't
in my
say that.
tracksuit.
I liked it.
That's, you know what? Like, you guys big on the pizza here. Never tell somebody where you're excited to go get a slice from. Don't
Yeah.
ever fucking do that. Someone's going to ruin it for you.
Okay, here's something. Do you have any people, Hollywood Bill? Do you know anyone at Clemson that can take you through the facility?
Oh, I will be like brought in through beneath the stadium on a Zeppelin.
Yeah.
That's how fucking
An
Hollywood Bill.
underground Zeppelin.
Okay, well, I'll hook you up with the guy because the facility is unbelievable. They have this football facility that is it's insane. Basically, instead of paying the players, they put a bowling alley and all these perks in there to be like, hey, isn't this fun? It's like, well, it would be fun if they got paid. But
Yeah.
I like Clemson. I shouldn't have said that. I fucked up. All right, so what?
You misspoke.
Yeah, misspoke. That was a totally. You know what? It was because I bet on Clemson and they didn't cover the spread. That's why I didn't like Clemson.
Yeah. You had a little axe
Right.
to grind.
Great
but you're
tailgate.
mature enough now that you're a father.
It was too hot.
See?
Yeah, I am mature now. It was too hot there when I went, but it's going to be nice and cool. It's going to be mid-October. You're going to be beautiful.
It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
Thank you.
What are the most recent when we
I
last
believed
had,
80% of that.
when you had I'll tell you after when you had we last had you on, you had almost all of the stadiums. Have you picked up any new ones?
Oh, all the pro ones?
Yeah,
I haven't.
which is incredible. It's like a streak that I just love to talk about because I love going to stadiums.
There's some rich guy who's been to all.
Marlins man is his name. We know.
Do you know
him.
Marlins man?
Personally
Does he have his
friends
own?
with him.
Does he have his own plane?
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Oh, you talking
You
about
got your own plane,
I'm
man.
sure-
That's like the PEDs that go to every
that's
stadium.
Not fair.
Like, come on.
That's not fair.
You
That's
got to
not fair.
earn it. You
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
sit
Marlins-
middle seat on a DC-9.
Yeah,
Come
He's
on.
the guy that'll buy out like an entire Southwest airline flight
Yeah.
and just ride on his own.
So what have you picked up?
Oh, he'll do that?
Yeah.
Like Vince Young style.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But you still can't lay down.
That's true.
I guess you
It's
can do the
hustling
3 road.
backwards.
Yeah. What are you asking?
Which ones have you picked up recently? Because so for people who don't know, who maybe didn't hear the first time Bill was on, he goes in all his travels, stand-up, comedy, working on movies, Hollywood Bill
Hollywood
stuff.
Bill.
He tries to hit a stadium every time he goes to a new city, and you have been to almost every single stadium in all the 4 major sports.
I've seen, a home game of almost every team. Okay, because a few people I've been to a home game of the Phillies, but it was the vet. I've still
Right.
never got to the new one. So there's a little bit of that going on. But all the baseball, all the football, all the hockey except 3. And I got 6 or 7 basketball, like just a couple of tough cities. Like I've only played Memphis and New Orleans a couple of times. So trying to not only play there and sync it up when the Grizzlies and Pelicans have a game has been a little bit tough. And then once a year I go to a big college football game. I've been to college hoop, racing,
Have you done
Formula
Duke?
One, MotoGP next year.
Have you done Duke for
Yes,
basketball?
Duke,
I
Carolina.
need to do that.
Oh my God, dude,
Yeah.
that was almost on par with the first time I went to a Super Bowl the Patriots were in, and they won, because I went when they lost to the Packers. Then I went when they beat the Rams the first time, and then but that was just like people standing the whole time. I came out, my ears were ringing like I saw a concert.
Right.
It was fucking.
It's a small arena,
Yeah.
right? It's like 5,000-7,000.
Camden
like that?
Indoor. It is like, as far as a sports experience. Excuse me, just belched there. It's definitely, it's an overused term, but it is. Mecca is something that's the wrong term.
What about
That's for
Fog Allen
MSG.
in Kansas?
Yeah, Mecca. I always love that. It's
Yeah.
a basketball Mecca.
Yeah,
Where people
Mecca,
from
yeah.
around the globe gathered to kick the Knicks' ass.
Five
I'll
times
eat-
a day.
I'll
They
eat
pray
five
to
Knicks
days.
James
fans
Dolan.
think that means like the Knicks are amazing. It's
Correct.
like, no, it doesn't. It just
No.
means like everybody dreams of playing in New York City because of the parks.
Yeah.
Not in what happened. What all those in the rap songs? They always talk about that one up there. The fucking. Did I say rap songs? That's how
Yeah,
old
in
I
all
am.
the rap tunes,
When they sing their
they
rap
always
there.
sing about the
the
lyrics
about
the Bronx.
Rugger Park or something like that. But nobody's really. You're not really talking about.
No, it's a pretty good sign. As a Cubs fan, it's like a pretty good sign. If your team stinks, you're probably talking about how awesome your stadium is.
Yeah.
That's really kind of the sign. Like,
Here's
or your
another one.
jerseys or something.
The more your franchise stinks, the more music and zaniness on the field in
Yes.
between plays.
Yes.
Yep.
I went to the
experience.
Patriots Redskins yesterday.
Good.
Which I love that stadium because it's this weird hybrid of old and new.
It sucks.
I love that stadium.
You love FedEx Field?
Yeah,
Well,
I love it
you had a
because-
seat that wasn't behind a giant cement pillar. Though.
I
He was
know.
sitting on Dan Snyder's lap.
No. I actually, Hollywood Bill came in and was a man of the people. But I was talking to some dude next to me, so totally not Hollywood. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah. You just see how the other half lives.
No, but what it was the fucking speaker, the shit they were pumping out. It was literally they were playing Twisted Sister, and a guy was yelling like that Sunday voice over it.
Yep.
And then this guy who knew the game, that's why I liked him, was shouting. It becomes like when you're in a bar and you're hitting on some chick and you're just screaming in her ear and then she's yelling in your ear. I had like my teeth hurt because my ears are fucked from all the years of listening to loud music. So I went out to go get a water and get away from the speaker, and then I came back and just kind of stood in the middle. And he probably thought, oh, he's being Hollywood Bill.
Right.
It's sort of it's like two personalities, like the Hulkster has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I dye my beard black, that's when I'm
Yes.
that's when I'm a man of the people.
You know what the problem-
the red is Hollywood Bill.
Yeah.
Something they don't talk about enough in that stadium, because you always hear about Seattle, they pump in the crowd noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what Pete Carroll's been doing for years. At FedEx Field, they have a live marching band inside the stadium, sits in the end zone. They just leave the microphones on the band
Right.
when like in between plays until the ball is snapped. So you hear the crowd cheering, but it's just oops, we forgot to turn the the lapel mic off the
It's a little
trombone player.
gamesmanship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in
it works
defense of
very well for
Seattle,
them.
what it is, it's the design.
Yes.
How they designed
Yes.
it. It's just like it's like a music venue, but rather than getting a great sound for the band, it's like I went there like pregame. People chatting in the crowd was loud.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like I was looking there, somebody brought a baby, and I was sitting there going, I hope they got like those weed whacker.
The Drew Brees.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
saw the pictures from that game. Was it really as heavy in New England as it looked on TV?
Yeah. It looked like I wouldn't say it looked like you were in Foxborough, but it more looked like when Jacksonville, when they have the big cocktail game between, was it Florida
Georgia,
and LSU?
Florida,
Yeah.
Florida and Georgia.
Yeah, LSU. Yeah, Georgia. That's what it is. Yeah, so it looked like that. It was like sort of half the stadium was Pats fans and stuff. So I try not to be, obnoxious and be a dick when I go to other people's stadiums. Like my team's like really winning, like we were. I'm not going to sit there.
And clap it
Thank
up.
you.
and-
Glad, yeah, in your face. Like
yeah.
whenever I see that, I just say that person kind of deserves to get the shit kicked out.
Yeah. So all right. So what would be if you had to pick your favorite stadium in each sport, like your number one? What would it be?
Oh, great question.
You can't do your own teams.
Oh.
No, you can't.
Well, you know what? You don't appreciate your own stadiums because you grew up, and
Yeah.
I can never quite appreciate Fenway because to me, like everybody's like, oh my God, I went there in the Green Monster, but it's just like I always saw that, and I thought that's what a ballpark looked like for the most part.
So baseball.
All right, well, there's different categories.
Oh. Okay.
As-
I love
as
stadiums.
far- okay,
so-
I'll tell you what was a great one, just off the road. Okay, going diners, drive-ins, and dives here. I'm going to say County Stadium, Milwaukee Brewers, And first of all, what I loved about that stadium was they still had the beer keg. Back in the day, every time they hit a home run, they had some big-titted blonde would slide down a slide into this alleged bucket of beer. Like, America, you know what I mean? So she was gone by then, but just like the design, like I don't know, just looking like all the guts of it were hanging out, and just the way they added on to it and stuff.
Where they filmed Major League.
Yeah. Oh, is that where they filmed
Yes.
it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one, Old Tiger Stadium, was great.
I love the overhang. The fact that
and I sat there.
Oh my God,
I
that's
sat
the
in right
best.
field because I was like, I wanted to be in the overhang with the short porch or whatever they
Yes.
used to call it. That was a
Yes.
great one. The Astrodome, knowing that Mickey Mantle hit I think he hit his last home run there. Elvis played there. Earl Campbell, that Monday Night Football game, I saw one there. These as far as like the old ones, the cookie cutter ones that were going away. Candlestick was just a great, miserable, punishing place to go see a game. Just freezing your
Right
ass
on the
off.
water, yeah.
I always remember in This Week in Baseball, there'd be like hot dog wrappers just swirling around in the outfield.
Yes.
But as far as like the newer ones, I'd have to say that the best new one that I went to is Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just the view of the bridges and like
perfectly
I
done.
love the Pirates in '79, was one of my favorite teams of all time. It's just a shame their ownership is just running it like you know, like the Nestle Corporation.
I like that whole downtown area too, where you got Heinz Field right next to. It's not Three Rivers Park, but they got the casino there too. They got everything right downtown, and the bridges.
The comeback of that city since I've been going there, just on the road, has been incredible. Where it's like, it was when I started going there in the late '90s. It was still the hangover of like, you know, the whole steel industry and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Went away. It was before the tech boom, and like the downtown was like desolate. It was scary, and it was just, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of action going on downtown. And I went to old what was it? That one's Three Rivers. I went to that. I saw Willie Stargell right before he died. They did some commemorative thing to him. Sammy Sosa was on the Cubs. I remember I sat in right field, so he was right there. It was a year after '98. That was cool.
What about hockey? What's the best barn?
I can't say the Boston Garden.
You got it.
I took
No,
a tour
you
of
can't.
Maple Leafs Garden. That was cool before they took out all the seats and fucked that thing up. But I never went to a game there. I went to the old Montreal Forum, which was a weird one. I saw them against the Minnesota North Stars in '89 when Patrick Waugh was still there, still a kid. Winnipeg was great. I took a hockey trip one weekend. Me and my brother went out. There was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver all had home games. I was like, fuck it, let's go. And he goes, all right, let's go. So we went to the Saddle Dome, and it was like...
I love that thing.
Yeah, it was snowing out. That was such a great...
Yes.
Like, you just thought Lanny McDonald was going to come skating out on the ice, and it was snowing out. It was great. Then we went up to Edmonton, and they played Vancouver, and what was awesome was we only heard one national anthem, and it was Canada. And I was like, I am as deep into the NHL as I can be right now.
Yes.
I am the furthest north team.
Yes.
I'm in Canada, and all I heard was the Canadian national anthem. And that was still Northlands Coliseum, which became Rexall Place. And they had, like, I got chills when I looked at it. When they had their Stanley Cup banners from the 5 that they won during the Gretzky-Messier era, and I saw all of those guys, Paul Coffey, all of those guys, like, their retired jerseys up there. It was just like, this is where it went down. This was, like they always said, the coldest ice in the league because they were so goddamn fast. And we met them, unfortunately, twice in the finals, lost both times. And, dude, the shit we would do, like, we would have the ice set just so it was ice. It was literally like slush.
Right.
Just trying to slow them down. We had a small, it was this is how crazy the NHL is. We had a smaller rink. Like, you can imagine having a smaller football field?
Right,
The dimensions of what you play on actually could be different sizes back then. So we had a smaller rink. We played more of a grinded out style. And that's just one of the things that I love about the NHL, but also drives me up the wall. Like last year that they allowed the St. Louis Blues to play the way that they did to win a cup. It was great for the fans of St. Louis. I'm really happy for the Blues fans. But as a Bruins fan, to watch the Bruins get beat by a team playing Bruins hockey, because they penalized that style of play out of the game. So we had like this Olympic hockey team. Hey, finesse, no touch icing. Let's do this. And they just were running our goaltender, and there was nobody there. We had no more Lucic, no more McQuaid or anything like that. So having said that, I hope that style of play kind of comes back a little bit because I enjoy that. I enjoy hockey. That's probably my number one.
That's your number one sport?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it because it's also like, it's never been the sport in this country. It's rogue. It's sort of outside. There's a loner sort of thing to it. It's very like.
Is Hipster Bill, cousin of Hollywood Bill?
I looked. No, it's more like. It's more like a stand-up comic. Being a comedian, there's such a weird, like, ridiculous amount of respect and no respect for it whatsoever.
Right.
Like, if you tell some of your comedians, like, oh, dude, I could never do that, blah, blah. But whenever they show us in a movie, we're always like a rubber chicken. We're on off stage. I mean, we've earned a lot of that, but, like, it's weird. It's just like, it's completely, like, one of my favorite two things I ever saw making fun of stand-up comedy was when Cliff Clavin tried stand-up on Cheers. And the Simpsons one time made fun of stand up, and it was done really. It was really done well.
When Krusty went dark.
Yeah. Oh,
started hating everything.
Oh yeah.
That was a
he
great
was smoking
second
the
act
cigarette and stuff. Yeah.
Talking shit.
I watched that.
Don't you hate pants? That was a great episode.
Yeah. Once. Once a year I'll watch that.
All right. I think you have to do another show after this, but so I'll do one last question.
Listen, Hollywood Bill is in demand.
Yeah, he is big time demand.
Last time I was here, I was down to earth Bill.
Now your head's in the clouds.
That's it.
This whole tracksuit is just a front.
You're just gonna have to ride this out with me. And 3 years later, see if I come back down to earth. Then you can see who I really am.
Once you
we'll
start
pick
drinking
you up out of the
again.
gutter. Yeah. Right. You put on another 20 pounds. You've seen this office is the first time you've been in here, right? We're Hollywood now.
I got to be honest with you.
You had a green room. You sat in a green room.
The lovely lady who brought me in, I could not tell the difference between this place and the other place.
Oh, damn. That hurts.
It's very
both dumps.
Sparsely. Well, I mean, there's nothing on the walls.
No,
we don't clean.
Like whenever I walk into this place, if I'm in the studio, I'm like, this is cranking.
But that's what
when I'm out there, I'm just like, this whole thing could shut down tomorrow.
Yeah, we're like
looks
boiler
like a
room.
boiler room. Yeah, there you go.
You would never know
we'll
we were
move
here.
across the street. We have all the phones set up.
These guys blog on flash paper. Yeah, a little cigarette going this way.
Instead of like a room full of phones, it's just a bunch of dip cans and empty water bottles.
Pretty much. All right, so the SeatGeek question, if you want to go see Bill stand up, are you going on tour soon?
When's my next one? Oh, Hollywood Bill will be in wine country.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
It's a little fancy. All right, so use
Napa Valley.
SeatGeek, promo code TAKE,
First
you get
three
$10
people
off.
with an ascot.
They
have to
get
pay-
$10
they
off
pay
with
double.
promo code TAKE. All right, so then now give us football. We need the football. That's just the question. It's just a continuation
my
of the
thing is, I
conversation.
don't know who the New England Patriots are right now because we basically, I think we're what we are every year, where we have some holes and the screws need to be tightened down. Everybody's looking at the record, but if you look at our September schedule, we basically had the same type of schedule as a college football team.
Yeah.
We played 3 cupcakes, and then we played the 3-0 Buffalo Bills. And
played Jacksonville State.
We had problems. Yeah, we Bowling Green.
Yeah, right. You did all the MAC teams.
Yeah,
they just line them up.
Lafayette,
Toledo, and Kent State.
LSU, Lafayette, or whatever those.
Yes. No, but
Ohio State, Miami.
I don't need to. The Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl again, probably. I meant stadiums because we're doing the
I don't
stadium.
know. I don't know.
What are your favorite?
I don't know.
Stadiums?
I think last year we got real lucky that was it Gurley? Gurley was hurt.
Yeah,
and that's huge, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The amount of clock that they could have eaten up, the amount of options that the thing about winning it is not only do you have to be good, you always have to have like that luck. Like the first time we beat the Rams, why the fuck did Mike March stop using Marshall Faulk?
Yeah.
No one will ever know. He doesn't know.
Right.
He's on his back porch right now staring off into a lake.
So let me
His
ask you
wife
this:
just trying to connect. When are you going to let it go,
Hey,
Mike?
Do you have tickets for the Super Bowl? Are you planning on going to Miami?
No. The last first Super Bowl I ever went to was we lost to Green Bay when Brett Favre took his helmet off and ran. And then the next one I went to was the Rams. And I kind of called that game just because I was talking shit. I was walking down the street, Bourbon Street. I kept pointing to Patriots fans going, they don't know. They think they know because they kept saying it's a scrimmage and all of that. Why'd you show up? I go, Bill Belichick is a defensive genius. Because I was going down there thinking I was going to drop $2,000 again and see my team lose. But then I started thinking, like, wait a minute. He was the defensive coordinator when they beat Elway in '86 and shut down that hire. He beat the run and gun
Montana
Buffalo Bills. Yeah, and I forgot. I didn't even realize that Montana. And I just said that as this that became my positive mantra. And I ended up being right. It's like I knew, but but anyway. So I saw them win, and then I was just like my buddy was like, every time they go to the Super Bowl, we're going to go. So the next time
you made that deal?
I was going to go.
You're like, fuck, that's a lot of Super
I know.
Bowl.
I was going to go, but we were recording the World Series of Dice. This is how long the Patriots have been winning.
Oh, Jesus.
With the late, great Charlie Murphy, Dave Chappelle show, and it was a early Monday shoot, and I wasn't going to be able to make it. So my buddy went, took somebody else, and I was really bummed out that I couldn't go. Psyched that I was doing Chappelle's show, but I was bummed out I couldn't go. But I had to admit, like, when the game was over and I was sitting in my apartment and I still had $2,000 in my pocket, and I was thinking, like, you know, is it ever going to be better than the first time I went with my brother and my dad? Mm-hmm. My dad's like old school, never does anything for him. You know, someday I'm going to get myself a cold drink of water. He's one of those guys. It's like, Dad, today's someday. He just never does anything for himself. And he went to that game, and like for 3 months, my mom told me every day he woke up going, I can't believe I was at that game. I was like, am I really going to top that? So I never went again. I look at it like someday, you know, my kid gets older. I'll go with her or something like that if she's into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so best stadium, though. Give me best stadium to finish up.
Best
Football. College or NFL?
Lambeau. And then
pretty nice.
also old Dallas Cowboy Stadium, because I loved Tom Landry Cowboys when they were like this respectable franchise that did coke and banged hookers.
Yep.
As opposed to when it was like back when some people thought wrestling was real.
Yeah.
I like that era. As opposed to when they were, okay, it's sports entertainment. That was when, how about damn Cowboys when they came in then. I wasn't as big a fan then. I like the Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson. You know,
get the nice little rectangle of sun
D.D.
on the
Lewis,
field as it's setting
Golden
in the afternoon.
Richards. I liked all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Newhouse. I loved all of those
guys. Should start wearing. Remember that weird thing when we kind of joke about it every now and then. Jack Del Rio and who's it, Mike Nolan. We're like, hey, we're gonna wear suits on the sideline as coaches.
Hey,
again,
this isn't like Coke sweat or anything, but suddenly it's feeling hot in here.
It does get hot in the studio.
Yeah. No, we're getting you. We're smoking you out.
We're also
what it is. Yeah, I'm feeling you guys are coming at me during this weird time in the comedy climate.
That's right. Which we've touched on.
Oh, you're gonna be
extensively.
fucking canceled. The name of this podcast episode is gonna be like, we cancel Bill Burr. You won't believe what he said about minorities.
Yes.
It's going to be insane.
Do you know how many hits you're going to get? Curiosity
It's going to be
hits.
insane.
You have to sell advertising with, you got to say what we do with curiosity hits. We have cornered the market. Curiosity hits. I think I just coined an advertising phrase.
Yes.
Which one of these fucking Space Odyssey?
All the above.
They all got them.
Just stare Bubba in the eyes.
Every time.
That's what
Did you go to the bathroom here? There's a camera in there.
Yep.
Oh, there is.
And boogers on the wall.
And that's legal.
Yeah.
If you're on an even floor, it's legal.
It's a one consent party state, so I can tape you whenever I want. That's the rule. We're getting yelled at right now.
It should be.
Oh, we're getting yelled at?
Yeah, we're getting yelled
I
at
don't have my phone
right
in
now.
my
So
pocket. All right.
we should probably let you go.
Bill Burr.
But thank you for stopping by.
Yes.
5-1.
You're the
Tampa.
best.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Oh, by the way, I love when you and El Prez were talking about there's 3 football games in one night, and you have to have money.
You
on
have
all.
to bet them.
I
can't
it's
not.
true.
No, it's about time somebody just admitted how much fun gambling is before you lose everything.
Yes, it's
I
amazing.
can't-
Before you lose your wife and kid, I mean, there's nothing better than having action on a game.
I can't understand people. It's this new thing where people are like, well, you got to be a sharp. Only bet the games you should bet. It's like, no, if there's a football game on, you have to bet it. If Monday Night Football is being played, you have to bet it.
I got buddies of mine that if there's a game they don't give a shit about, they put money on it so they will.
Yes.
That's exactly what I do during baseball season.
If
I
I
don't
sit
give a
down,
fuck about baseball, but I'll pay
Part of your
attention.
job, you got to know.
Exactly.
the worst thing that's happened is live betting, because if I sit down at a bar or a restaurant and there's a game on and I didn't know it was going to be on, I was like, well, now I'm going to live bet it because now I have to have it. It's on in front of my face.
I like it. Like your face is literally
actually-
like you're getting crazy eyes. I love it.
I have action on both these games.
It's great if you
Right
show
now.
up
I
early
do.
for an engagement somewhere.
I you fucking
and
you
you're at
got,
a
you
fucking
got
bar.
one game on 2 screens. Did you
No,
bet
there's
both
a
of
game
these
coming
games?
up. No, there's a game coming up right here. The Braves and the Cardinals. I had action on that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go.
It is the perfect way to kill time.
Yes.
If you're early for an engagement.
And lose all your
just
money.
bet on something.
I lose
until
so
somebody
much.
shows up.
Yeah.
So much.
Just bet what you know you want. You
Oh
you
yeah,
can
that's
handle
good
it.
advice, Bill.
Why?
Just bet
Why don't
what you can, people.
Wow, Bill Burr.
You go all the way up there.
Canceled.
Cancel. I'm gonna cancel
Advocating
you.
illegal
Use that clip. That's the clip you use. All right, cool. All right, thank you.
I wish I had thought of that.